make a song about Sergeant Filthy McNasty.
Boy, I'm really on fire. Let me show you a chart of am I crazy? Am I crazy? Am I gameplay is in its infant stages. Fire. Let me show you a chart of am I crazy? Am I crazy? I'm not a chart guy and I can barely say analysis. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Am I Dick's intern? Boy, I'm really on fire. Welcome back to another episode of A Candor Gander with your host, Sergeant Filthy McNasty. It's been a minute. I feel like a lot's happened since I last streamed. First and foremost, my computer crashed on me, but we're back. We're back and we're ready for action. I figured I'd crack it back open and turn on that stream. Given that we'll be at 3XP next week, so. I don't know what that's going to look like. We'll do something, I'm sure. It may not be my stream. We'll find out. We'll figure it out. But before we get to any of that, let's do some introductions. We know some of some of the faces here on screen, but we'll reintroduce everyone. And we've got a new guest here on with us as well. Two new guests. One's off screen. But Ogre, as you mute and cough, I pick on you. Reintroduction, anything you're working on, anything you care to share with the community?
Well, he cared to share in the chat that his sound went off after the intro. You are the only one that I can tell.
Oh, okay. Well, that's bueno. So we'll skip Ogre for now. Bravia, let's start with you. Welcome. You're new to DFK streaming. And I say that because I think you'll be streaming soon, if I'm not mistaken. Introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And when are you streaming?
My name's Brovia. I've been in the game for about a year and a half, I'd say. Rode it all the way up to 20 and all the way back down. Many assets in the game. I thought now is the time to start trying to do some YouTube action.
Why not? I encourage it. Welcome to the community. We'll embrace you like we have everyone else. Mr. Risen, I'll pick on you next. Welcome back. You're not there alone. Tell us anything maybe you care to share.
I have a thing.
You've got a baby.
Hakuna Matata.
As where I've been basically. Luckily, I only took a week off, but then Bolon's been very nice and letting me just kind of show up and do what I can in the middle of the night while I'm awake with her. So I've been here, but I'm back in the game.
Hey, you know what? I know moms get a lot of credit as they should. I feel like unspoken heroes are dads. I've got a 2-year-old, and no one ever told me about the sleepless nights. You do that a day, that's cool, but you do that for 6 months or the rest of your life. And you're a whole different person. So
Yeah.
kudos to you, Risen, for
I have
showing up.
a freshman in high school, a kindergartner, and now her is 2 weeks old. So this is not new to me, but key thing for anybody in the future, take shifts. I get home, she goes to bed, I go to bed at like 2 or 3 in the morning, she takes over.
And that sounds like I was at a parenting class, and someone was like, "Wait, so we have to be up at one of the moms like we have to be up at during over like throughout the night." And I was like, "Oh, you silly you don't know what you're getting into." Well, congrats, Mazel Tov. Ogres, your mic working now?
My
I
mic
think
never
so.
stopped working, but your amazing intro broke my USB speaker. As soon as the intro stopped, so did the sound.
Oh, crazy. Well, welcome back, Ogre. I know you've been working on maybe some amazing projects. Do you care to share anything, any alpha with us? Show yourself.
Get ready to come to Nashville, y'all.
Okay.
And it's not going to be an event, it's going to be a community that will be hosting regular events. So, yeah, definitely working on something with some pretty well-known people in the community. And it has a lot of potential. So I'm excited about it. We're going to be having a lot of fun here in Nashville, and then it's going to grow out from there. We're going to use
I love
Nashville as
it.
a template to build it, and then go from there and continue out to other cities. Because it's basically, all right, so problem statement. In crypto, what's the biggest issue? We need to get Web 2 people in, people that are not already in crypto, right? So how do we do that? Well, we go from global back to local, right? You got all these people that don't understand Web 3 and they're scared because they don't even understand their phone. All right, that's what we're dealing with. So we need to be able to give those people somebody in their community that they can go hang out with, who is not a subject matter expert, because there's no such freaking thing yet, but somebody who's at least savvy enough to act as their guide or send them to the right person for videos, or, oh yeah, start reading on this person, you'll learn. You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of community we need to build. And so that is
We should
what
start a daycare center for kids, so Risen can take his kids and everybody else that has kids, and then people can learn crypto at the same time in the other side of the building. I think that
There
would
you
be
go.
I love it.
that's $1 million.
Church of-
It's $1 million idea right there, dude.
Church of Crypto, and that sounds like a write-off to me, doesn't it? Well, last I heard, crypto's the devil. So, I think it'll be good to chat with people and share and dispel some of those myths. So where do we go for more information on that? I'm sure you'll share once that's sort of final, but
Yeah, we don't even, like, it's still very, very early stages. Like, I've been working on it like for about a month now. I mean, I've been thinking about it and rolling it around for several years now, kind of as I'm evaluating the space and looking around, trying to figure out what the space needs. And if y'all remember the Harmony Hub app, that was kind of the beginning of that. It's taking that to the next level.
Yeah.
That will be coming back.
No,
That's part of it.
I love it. Before I go to Bless, Bravi, if you want to post your link as to where people can find you, and then we'll circle back. I'll be sure to pin it here on the video. Bless, welcome back. You've been on a few times. You were one of my early guests. Welcome back. I know you're working on some awesome stuff. Reintroduce yourself and feel free to show yourself for a second.
Hi, I'm Bless. I've been on the show before, once or twice, maybe 3 times. I lost count. But congratulations on your 1-year anniversary. Is it today is 1 year?
No, May 19th was was 1 year, but I operate on the Mexican calendar, so we're close enough.
Okay, so not the Gregorian calendar, but the Mexican calendar. You have to show that to me later. That way I can understand the difference between the two. I know lunar, I know Gregorian. I'm not sure if I know the Mexican calendar.
I think it's a descendant of the Aztec.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No,
but me and my wife, Miss Bless, we did some streaming for a while. We did a bunch of pitches to DFK for PvE content, and I've been involved with the DFK community since early 20. So what year is it now? 2023, 21.
Yeah.
A while. I've been in with DFK for a while. So, but we're working on our own little side project. Too early to say much about it. I can say that we'll be GameFi and obviously BlockFi integration with a little bit of game, and we're going to prioritize game first. And to speak on the audio production technology, I do that as well. And so love the audio productions stuff there. Sticks. If you ever want to collab on stuff, me and my brother are all over the audio production stuff, mastering, helping people put out singles and albums.
Oh, you sound legit too. That's awesome. I'm like a home hobbyist.
I mean, I was in the Army and I'm retired now, so basically I'm just a hobbyist. Essentially, everybody I tell I'm a project manager. I manage a bunch of different projects. You want to get involved in something, just contact me. I'll help you with whatever you're trying to accomplish.
I love it. Well, we look forward for more info when that's ready. I'll probably have you back on for sure. And before I move on to Sticks Intern, I know we just had Memorial Day, and I know there's a very distinct distinction between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. But I do want to thank our two veterans here on the screen, Bless and Ogre. Thank you very much for your service. We'll be doing much more of that comes Veterans Day as well, and just try not to forget. Thank you for all you do. I'm here doing what I do because of people like you, so thank you much. Bless, where can people find you? I know you have your own Discord channel as well.
Right now, just a Discord. I haven't pushed out too much information. We're still trying to get our kind of our staking portfolio and governance system in place, finishing up the gameplay platform, pitching to different networks, and deciding which chain we're going to run with. So before we release anything, any images outside of the actual lore, which is the only thing that you can really see on the Discord right now, it all get dropped at one time. Not all of it, but majority of it. So, but yeah, the Discord, and I can blast that.
Feel free to drop it in. Sticks Intern, I give you a hard time, but I love you, man. Tell us about what you're doing. You have a sweet collab coming up with someone. I'm not gonna butcher who it is. Tell us more about that, and how can people participate?
Are you talking about the collaboration with Loot Rush? I just gotta ask.
That is exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay. Just making sure it wasn't a music thing that I had told you, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah, I do have a collaboration going on actually right now with Loot Rush. If you're not familiar with them, they are building out a NFT rental kind of leasing platform where you can put up your NFTs to be rented by other people who will then pay for them, and it's not fully ironed out yet, but it's kind of like some sort of thing where they have to pay an ongoing amount as they use it every day. And then there's a liquidation possibility, collateral, and all of that good nonsense. But yeah, it should be interesting. They are definitely really into DeFi kingdoms. They reached out to me, so really cool to be doing this giveaway with them. And it's been pretty successful so far. So if you want to get involved with that, check out the pinned tweet on my Twitter, which is at Sticks Intern with a Y in Sticks, but not in intern. You'll find it there. And then other than that, I just am a meme generator. I try to do my best to make some memes on Twitter. And then I produced some music, and I recently produced one featuring the voice of Maddie Pesk. And you heard one at the beginning of this show featuring the voice of our own host, Sergeant Filthy, which happens to be my most played song ever made. It's clocking in almost 1,700 plays on audio. So pretty stoked on that.
I love it, and I feel bad for people who have to hear my voice 1,700 times, but that's on them. Beat 6, I love it. Appreciate
it. Bro, we know we've used 1,650 of those. Come on.
No, that was my mom. I was the other 50, so let's be clear. Well, I would never shield anything.
Of a spell that's attached.
Yeah, no. So
You just
3XP,
made me more
if
upset.
you're
I'm
not
not going
going
to
to that,
3XP.
Paid.
That.
I'm so sorry
Paid
for
for
that,
by
Over. I'm so
Orgavore.
sorry. I'm
Wait,
rubbing
what's
it
wrong with him
in.
again?
Oh no.
Hold on, I'm going to
We
figure
can
this
hear
out.
you,
Hooker
but
up wrong.
I'm
we'll
going to
let
mute.
you
Well,
fix
you
your
go
audio
ahead. I'll
here in a
figure it out.
sec. No, if you're not coming to 3XP, I get it. I feel for you. If 3XP was in the opposite coast, I wouldn't be able to attend either. But it's here. It's local. A couple hour drives. It's gonna be pretty fun. We have a handful of us attending. I know Sticks intern, you'll be there. We've got Mythic Squad showing up. Grady confirmed he'll be there. Christian Peter will be there, which, by the way, happy birthday, Christian Peter. He could not be here today because he got to celebrate his birthday. Congrats, well deserved. And he had some other stuff which I won't divulge, but no, happy birthday to him. And if you've not already registered and you are attending 3XP, there is a DFK meetup. Go ahead and drop that information here at some point in the chat. But
Did that say
there's
the
a
Stone
meetup
Brewery?
there that is at Stone Brewery in Pasadena. I know.
This is
I know.
awesome.
And it is. And I don't know where we're fitting. Last I heard, Christian let us know that there's 102 people registered for this. You'll be able to meet some of your favorite streamers, and I'll be there as well. But yeah, no, it'll be fun. We've got some awesome people confirmed. I know the president CEO of 3XP is going to be hanging out. I think Dreamer said he'll be showing up. There's some other content creators who will be there as well. So you'll never know who you meet. And there's a Toga after party afterwards that is incidentally free as well. So feel free to register for that if you've not. Here is the information. I'll try and post it here afterwards as well. But Toga party, come register for that as well. So that'll be fun. Many kudos to Christian for putting that together. We'll see. It's my first crypto event, so I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good time. With that said, let's go ahead and get to the agenda here. There's a few items to cover. One, being there's a side quest that was going on, and that's partly why we're all here. Risen, I know you know everything about this side quest. I'm just kidding. I know you've been busy with the baby, so I'll recap for,
I was
for
about to say,
everyone
you're
what
really gonna
that
call
was.
me out this quickly?
Yeah, well, you got to put you on the spot. Come on, man. No, so for those of you who may not be aware or may need a recap because you've been on baby duty for the last week and change, Bolon posted a side quest for people to be able to participate in, sponsored or hosted by Zealous with DFK Helper. So it's a DFK flyer contest. Here's some rules below. We'll go ahead and just read them. Winners will be chosen as so most likely to interest. So the winner should be the most likely to interest people that have never heard of DFK but are interested in the game and may not be familiar with crypto. So sort of go come at it from a marketing perspective. Everyone was invited to go ahead and participate. Multiple entries were welcome. We have 9 entries I saw, and those 9 entries were sort of unique. I didn't see any multiples that I'm aware of. Content owned by DFK, and Zalus did mention he'll be printing these at for 3XP to sort of hand out. I think he's assigning us all to sort of hang out at street corners and give these pamphlets out like you would see at Vegas, or maybe some of. I'll stop there. Yeah. So with that said, we'll go ahead and just recap some of these submissions. I've made them as anonymous as I can make them. So that way we're judging the content and not who submitted. I think the way we'll go about it is here in private chat. If our guest can maybe submit rank give a we'll use a point system. For anyone claiming I'm making this up on the spot, lies and slander, we'll do a
We
point
could speed
system.
it along by just removing anything that has a bloater on it. because they're obviously
that-
going to lose.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, yes.
I don't know about
The
that.
two-floater-
Hold on.
I don't know. Do you see his hat? I think we got at least 3 votes.
I mean, I'll go get my hat if I need to.
Yeah.
So let's do this. I think it'll be funner rather than going the private way. Let's all chime in, and if you think it's top 3 category, we'll put in top 3, and then we'll revisit a rank 1, 2, 3.
So can we like get a quick run through all of them just to see them all and then rank them? Would that be doable?
Yeah, I'd like to see all of them before I
Because
start
like,
ranking.
Because what if we say something's crap and it ends up being the best thing that we see?
A good point.
Right?
That's fair, and that's why Stick's intern is the intern we all need. I'm still a little jaded that he left me for Bolon, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it is unfortunate
That
timing.
sounds fair. We'll pull them all up and then we'll recap them. There's 9 entries. I'll do one at a time. Here's entry number 1. No bias here from halfway through. Entry number 2. Imagine this being a pamphlet, but
It's a nice trifold situation we got going on.
There you go. Here's entry number 3. Entry number 4. Number 5. 6. 7. Number 8. Front and back situation here. And number 9. All right. With that said, pull them down, and then we'll bring them back up. And then just hey, the concept behind this was, hey, you're marketing DFK. The idea is to give this to someone who's never heard of DFK, and it's supposed to entice them to want to, hey, maybe take a peek, maybe take a gander, if you will. So let's see, entry number 1. Is this the top 3? And we'll go ahead and just rank. We'll do 1, 2, 3 here at the end. But does this qualify as the top 3 for you? I know Sticks intern, this hurts you a lot because I know you like the imagery.
So I have to recuse myself from this one. I feel like because I know that the artist who made this one was thinking of me when they put that in the middle. So I feel like I'm too biased to vote on this one because it's number 1 in my book.
I think that this is maybe a little bit too inside baseball.
It might be.
Somebody who's already familiar with us would totally get
that's
into
fair.
like, this is awesome, but somebody that has no clue who we are or never heard of us, maybe they think we just make plush weird fish.
This is fair, and I think I agree with that sentiment.
Personally,
Bravia, Bless, Ogre, do you guys agree? Maybe a top 9, but not a top 3.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
I agree. I mean, personally,
I
I am
agree.
looking. I saw several of them that had QR codes and websites on them. And so I queued in on that immediately because if the purpose of this is to hand out as a flyer, we want to make it as easy as possible for them. So those ones that have links and QR codes, those are my top ones.
Or
I love it.
a giant dread on there might be good too.
Yeah.
Giant-
Oh my God. Yeah. Giant dread over giant bloater. I mean, that's a discussion in and of itself. So, fair. We'll move on to the next one. I like the entry, but you're right. If the intention is to sort of attract a newbie, that might not be that may not be it. Entry number 2.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I love the entry. It was very,
Oh,
very
I
appealing.
love it too.
Yeah,
It was clean. I love it. Entry 2.
this one. I love this one too. It's my issue is almost a little bit too busy, but I love the fact they've got all the QR codes down there and make it super easy for people who go, "Oh, this is cool. What do I do next?" Bam! It's right there on the page for them.
I know I
I
mentioned
think-
that it's a
yeah.
trifold, but it probably is going to look less busy if it's actually like printed and trifolded, because each one of those panels are going to be individual.
You
I think
selling
it's a
this one
top-
pretty hard.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This
Riz,
is
there
not
like
my
a-
favorite one, but this one I thought was very good.
It's a
I
top
agree, it
3
is.
for me.
It
Bless?
is. I would say it's top 3. I put my top 3 down, and 2 is one of the 3. I think I agree with the statement that it seems a little busy, but also agree with Risen that when you turn it into a trifold, it would essentially take away from some of the busyness. So I think 2 is definitely in the top 3.
I
Definitely.
think we've got 4 against 2, but I'll ask anyhow. Bravia sticks intern top 3.
I would have ranked this one third. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's a little busy, but if it is a trifold, it might work.
I
I
have
love it.
nothing to
Oh,
add.
boy.
Basically, same ideas.
Now I feel like we're American Idol, maybe next Crypto Jam. I don't
You
know.
are
I
the
feel-
weakest
I feel
link.
special. Yeah. Well, I am the weakest link. That is a fair statement. That's not what you meant.
Vote me-
That is a fair
Vote me off. I need a refill.
Okay. Entry 3. Is this a top 3 or a top 9?
Top 9 for me.
Top 9, I agree. It seems just kind of off balance. It's decorative, but it just seems like more work could have been put into it compared to the
I
other
like
ones.
the art. I like the art.
I like the
It
art
looks
too,
really
but
cool, but it doesn't
not
have
a top 3 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have that next step.
Yeah, Bravia, same, I
It
presume.
really sucks bashing these, but they're all good. Like they're all really
They
good
are good.
entries.
Let's get this
They're amazing.
clear. They're better than anything I could have made, which is why I didn't make anything.
Yeah, and I'd have both crayons in hand trying to do something. It wouldn't look pretty.
I love it. Okay, no, so honorable mention for sure. Entry 4. Is this a top 3 or a top 9?
I
Top
thought this
9.
one was pretty. And I just wish it had more information. If they took this idea and just added a little bit more content, I think that this would have blown me away.
Some blur
I
to it
agree.
as well. Could have kind of toned up the lettering, made it a little more clear.
It's got to
No
entice
sense.
people. They got to know what it's about. Needs more information.
Whoa,
Yeah.
You're from Canada?
Yep.
Eh?
Nice.
I also
Did I
agree.
say something
You
that's
said
Canadian?
you said
A boot.
about.
About
It wasn't
Yeah,
even a
boot
boot,
came
but it was
away.
a boot enough to
About
recognize.
a boot?
It's all
Yeah,
good, man. Love you for it.
You've
It's
been,
a global community.
there
That's
is
one of
a
the beauties of it.
huge Canadian contingency in DFK. It baffles me. There's so many Canadians. It's just, I don't know. It's just interesting to me. I love it. All right, no, top 9 for sure. Next entry 5. Is this a top 3 or a top 9? What do you guys think?
So I like this one because it kind of like lists out everything that you can do in the game. The only thing it's really missing is that kind of QR code, right? So it's like that. Here's everything you can do, and then let's take you to that next step. Now that's something that could be added, I think, if we were to select it. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, I don't know. For me, like this one was right on the edge there of top. So I would put it in top 4. So that's where I'm gonna open with that.
I agree with Sticks. I think it is. It's like easily editable to be top contender. So I will say top 3 in my mind.
I'm going to go with number 4 also, where if we don't find another one for the end that we say is top 3, then that one goes in. But we got to be careful about saying it's very editable because they all are. I mean,
Well,
everybody
that-
can go
that
back
one
and be like, I've got a QR
that-
code right
that one-
here.
That one just needed one QR code. Like I feel like the other ones all needed like more, kind of design thought so far. And that
You
one
gotta
just kind
take
of
them
needed
as you gotta
splotch.
take them as is though. So we gotta take
You're
them as
right.
they were
You're right.
submitted.
So that's why I didn't put it in the top 3.
I agree. 4 or 5.
I love it. Bravia. I presume you agree.
I'm in agreement. I'm waiting for another one coming up here.
I think
He's got the notes. You can see it.
he's
I
got
got it
the
written
notes.
down.
Entry.
You did prep
6.
work?
That's a nice one. Top 3.
Yep.
That is a top 3 for me too. I think the QR code gets it.
Look at that
And
archer up there and tell me that doesn't look sexy.
Well, that
Mhm.
does look very sexy.
And one comment. I mean, a subtle touch. They use the new animations for the knight and the archer.
Yep.
They
It
even
really
that's-
points towards there's more to what's being shown than what's there.
Yep.
Like you're expecting that arrow to fly.
I like
Yes,
how at
yes,
the
I
bottom
like
they
that.
just said get playing and they said scan the QR code, log in, install. It just gave you like a step by step. Here's what you do to get started, and explained it simply, clearly, and it's similar to the background colors and everything that you would see inside DFK. So that one really popped to me. That's another one of the 3 that I put down. So definitely top 3 for me.
Top 3. Bravia, top 3 for you as well.
Oh, 100%.
Love it. Entry 7. Top 3 or top 9?
That's gonna be a top
I
9 for me.
It's a top 9. I do love the
Right.
images, and I love the branding of the Command Your Legion, Claim Your Legacy. But yeah,
I
and I
will
think
say,
that.
like, I would put that on a banner at
Oh,
an
oh my
event.
God,
You know what I
dude,
mean?
that'd be awesome.
So there's nothing wrong with saying like that looks very cool.
Yeah.
Do I think it should be on a little handout? Probably not. But I could see that being blown up and standing in front of it and talking to people about us.
It would be even better is if you took that one and the one before and put that one on the one side and that on the other side. And that would have been like
Oh,
a perfect
yeah,
car.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Wow, I like that.
That's
That's
right.
why they don't pay
Yeah.
me the big bucks or any bucks.
Yeah.
All right, so that looks like it's a top 9. Entry 8. Is this a top 3 or not?
I rated that one in a top 3 just because it has a front and back. There's a lot of information there. It's got the website, it describes it, shows the NFTs, gives you a brief information about what you can do on the chain. So that one for me was top 3. Those were my top 3 was 2, 6, and 8.
I like it too. I think it is missing that QR code, but that's an easy fix.
Yeah.
I think it's nice enough to put put in a top 3 for sure. I see some maybe Sticks intern. Are you leaning one way or another on this one?
Oh, no, I just made a noise because of the it's an easy fix thing. I actually really like this one too. I think it's great, very well done. I really like how it uses the in-game art, but then has its kind of own description for the back panel. And yeah, I think it's really well done. You got the 2 chains on the front, and then the 3 types of currency on the back. There's a lot of information packed into space. Space is really well used in this, while at the same time having like big eye-catching. You got that mythic right in the center, and it shows all the other cool colors of the cards.
Yeah. Okay. So it looks like we've got a top 3, top 9 or top 3.
So I really like this one. Here's the only problem I had with it is that like I feel like the goal was to hand this to someone who's not into crypto and get them into it, and this is like, hey, in your face crypto, which like I'm down for, but I don't feel like that was the goal.
Yeah, as being like I've gone to a lot of crypto events. Blue and purple in your face advertising is kind of like the bread and butter of most of these crypto projects. So I feel like it might get lost a little bit. And I also think that gives too much credit to MetaMask that down there. It's too big of a box.
That's
I
fair.
love the fact they have the website on there. That, in my mind, makes it a better contender than the previous one because it tells them what to do next. So I would say that, like, I was torn. I was going to ask, are there more that have QR codes? I thought there were more. I would say a top 3 with this one over the last one personally, but I know that I'm just one voice among 6. And that is only based upon the fact that it's got the website on it, right? Because I know it's an easy fix, but if we grant that to one, we have to grant that to all. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
So what do we want to
very
fix about
fair.
this one that would make it awesome, that would say that we top 3? You know what I mean?
Bravia, do you disagree? Top 3 or 9?
I feel like we've got way more than top 3 already. I quite like this one already as well. So I would say this top 3 for me.
Okay, I think Blessed, you might be a tiebreaker. Or if I don't, or was this 9 or 3 for you?
This was 9 for me. Top 3 was 2, 6, and 8.
Gotcha. Okay, that's right, and that's what I think too. Bravia, Ogre, you've been outvoted this time around.
No worries.
So let's revisit. Right, let's do now that we've identified a top 3. Let's do 1 to 3. So if I recall, we've got 2, 6, and 8.
So before we start critiquing these, can I point out something as somebody that would have to figure out how to actually make this come to a reality at an event? There's
Which one would be the hardest for you?
So first of all, the double-sided one would double the cost. So I'm getting half of the amount of actual handouts, which doesn't necessarily mean a good or bad thing because you don't want to give out so much stuff that it's trash and people see it on the ground because people are throwing it away. So there's definitely something to be said about that. The trifold not that much more expensive, maybe an extra like cent or two running it through a folder at a Staples or things like that, and they have machines that just fold them up. So nice, but with that being tri-folded, if that's how it's supposed to be, it only being one-sided might also make it look weird. And then the first one wouldn't have to worry about either one of those things. So if it was, it's not my favorite one, to be honest, but if I was choosing based off of what would be the easiest to just like knock out, probably be the first one.
When you say the first one, you're not talking about the trifold, or you are talking about the trifold? So the trifold is the first one, but that's not the one
Not
you're
the
talking
trifold, not the back-to-back. That
That
one.
one.
That's number 6.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
That's the one I vote for a win among these three also, because it has like the great graphics and the QR code, where I like the graphics on the third one better. Like it just doesn't have that next step to me.
If it
There's
was
a
me,
whole
I'd be printing that on cardstock, cutting them in half, and
It
Boom.
doesn't even mention Clayton in there, does it? It just said on AVAX, didn't it?
No, it doesn't. I noticed that before.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That is the one detractor there.
Well, I mean, this gets you initiated. It gets you on, CV. It shows you how to get on the wallet. Like I said, I think my top 2 is between 6 and 8.
well, are we opening ourselves up in the idea of, we could say all of them could be edited to be better or whatever it is, but we already
that's
got
fair.
past that and got to the final 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So any one of these, probably before actually clicking print and printing them out, there might be 1 or 2 things that actually are done and changed prior to somebody paying to have these made. So
what you're
tiny
saying is
things like
you don't care
that,
what
I
we
would
think,
think.
you're going to put some cool stuff on it.
I'm just saying,
I
if
feel
we're
you.
talking about
Okay.
completely changing something, then they wouldn't have even made it to the top 3.
So as is, what do we sit on number 3? Let's just work our way up to the top. What's number 3?
So
I'm gonna
that's
say the
one
tri-fold
option.
personally.
That's the second. This is number 3
Again.
for you.
Now, so
I
that
like
one
the
again,
idea, but
So
yeah, like,
trifold number 3.
well, the fact that like when you fold it, what's going to be on the other side? You need a back for that because it's a full 8.5 by 11.
and if
you're
you were
fold
not considering it to be a trifold, then you can go off of its original thing of it's very busy.
It does have yeah.
It's cool. Don't get me wrong. I love it. Somebody put a lot of work into this,
Mhm.
and I appreciate it. I'm thinking of the practicality, like you said, of trying to hand it out there. And if I picked something like that up, how would I respond? Right?
Is that what we're going for? Should we vote number 1 for practicality?
There is one thing here inside. I mean, I don't know if this solves the problem, but there is a second picture of it in the actual submission on the
There
channel.
is,
board,
yeah.
and it shows how it would be folded. So they were thinking fold it with the middle as the
Inward.
front thing, and then it's like the wings open up, and you see both of the wings. But I
So
mean,
then people are gonna open to a
Ew.
blank sheet.
they'll flip it over. It's like yeah. That's like opening a present and finding out there's something inside.
So
I mean,
let's do this.
Maybe if we just put the giant DeFi Kingdoms logo on the back of each piece of paper, how much extra would that be to print just that on the back, Risen? Is that practical?
A double-sided color copy under 10,000 prints, you're looking at close to $1 a page.
Why don't
So
you just fold it into a triangle, and then at the 3XP pub, you know how you got the little beer menu right in the where you sit down?
Do we
Change
have
it,
anybody that
replace
knows how to do origami? You can make it into bloater origami.
So let's do this
No.
because I think we could definitely discuss for 5 hours what should be 1, 2, 3. I think we did Gai's work by choosing top 3. I think Risen, I think it's fair enough to maybe let you pick 1, 2, 3. Based on what you saw, what's 1, 2, and 3?
Third, so starting from the bottom because that's the proper way, would be the so-called trifold. I thought it was honestly my favorite, but when we're talking about practicality and all the other things, that's where it's going to come in third for me.
Fair.
Totally agree.
Second, and this is much closer, kind of a coin flip, in my opinion, is going to be the back to back, the double-sided one would be number 2. And I'm still
Love it.
like not 100% convinced that that's the right answer, but that's what my gut is telling me.
I mean, honestly, if that had a QR code, well, sorry, it's your turn. Go ahead.
I'm not too convinced off of the QR code, but the QR code does help. But that being said, if we were going to add Clayton on there, we could add a QR code on the other one. So
Did anyone test the QR code yet? Let's make sure it doesn't go to like.
it goes to
With the
Defira.
top four tonight.
Fire is even better.
I love you said that, Risen. All right, no, that's fair. Okay, so number 3, number 2, and then number 1. It was clearly, as you can all hear, a close call. So congrats to our winners. Zealous, I'm sure, will reach out as to the prizes. There were prizes attached to this in Jewel. So you'll be hearing from him, and I'll be sure to connect with him about sort of making that happen. He said he's going to print these out. I'm not sure which one he's printing. Maybe he's printing all 3. But it's definitely, I'll see it in person, and I'll let you know whether or not we made the right choice as to 1 through 3. So we'll figure it out. But congrats. With that said, now that we're done judging, let's return back to our regularly scheduled program. I hate the idea of talking about this yet again, because I'm one more show on this topic, and I'll be labeled the guy who talks on this specific topic. But I have to give it a minute, because I think it is still top of mind. I won't say summoning cooldown, because someone's gonna throw vegetables at me. So I'll say hero inflation. Any thoughts there before we move on to a next topic? I think I personally have talked on this to death, but I know we have new faces here on screen. Wanted to give you guys an opportunity to sort of give your piece before we move on.
I'll throw my 2 cents out there.
Throw
I think
them
it's
out
a
there. Let's
non-issue.
hear it.
I think it's a non-issue. We're a small community at the bottom of a bear market. As people come in, they're going to need a lot of heroes. Otherwise, the floor is going to go crazy. I know some people want the floor to go crazy, but that will hurt us. It will make it harder to get more people to come in. So having a massive glut at the bottom of a bear market is a beautiful place to start the bull market, right?
So
Because people can get in cheap and tell all their friends about the awesome cheap entries they got, and get all their friends in too. It'll be slightly higher, and they tell their friends, and it all just builds into a giant crescendo. Plus, if you think about the mechanics long term, there's going to be different aspects of the game. If you look at old school games that are similar to this, that have a farming aspect and a PvP aspect, some people tend to be farmers and some people tend to be PvPers. So this has both, right? Now, granted, the farming will probably be more automated, but you're going to need a glut of throwaway heroes for that. And then the best heroes will be used for PvP. Just kind of my 2 cents, what I see happening and what I expect to happen in the next few years. So like, I'm not worried about it, but then again, my time frame is also several years, right? You got to keep that in account, because if somebody's time frame is 3 months or 6 months, number one, they probably fucked up in investing something that's going to take longer than that to mature. But number 2, like, it's just not realistic. Those are those unrealistic dreams that are getting people to buy into these stupid meme coins, which a few people get rich off of and everybody else pays them off of. It's just the way it works. So yeah, my thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, and maybe restructuring and evolving this question a bit more. So I know I've done it. Maybe go full cycle here. We had the is it, should we, is this of concern? We had Hubert on, and maybe we spend a minute for anyone who cares to share, because I've heard a million different ideas. But if you had one you were sort of really willing and wanting to share, any potential solutions to this quote unquote problem, whether it is a problem today or not, it sounds like it's something to contend with, certainly. And I know, I know, Bless, you've had some proposals, you've put out sticks. I know you've sticks into, and I know you've mentioned a couple of things. Robbie, I know you're, DFK Bull, and you have your stable of heroes. So anything you care to add before we move on to a new segment?
Well, I mean, right now with the current gas prices, that's really helping hero inflation, because we don't get any extra money to do some summoning from our brood of heroes. So that should be slowing it down for a while.
I feel like if you add what Bravavia said and Overboard together, as people come to DFK, more people will have heroes, and you'll have people actually summoning more. So there's a potential for the network to be at risk if heroes aren't diminished by some kind of burn mechanic. Whether or not DFK puts that at a higher priority than PvP is completely up to them. I do think, and I have spoken at length to several different people about, I feel like there's mechanics in DFK already that there's existing code that can be used to implement burn mechanics that would be efficient. Just like, we have multiple Q heroes. You pull that code, you put it over into dark summoning, you put 6 heroes in there, and you burn them, and DFK decides to come up with what they want to reward people for those. It doesn't have to be. You can have some RNG there. It doesn't need to completely destroy the material economy. You're killing 6 heroes at a time. Boom, they're dead.
You writing this down, Risen?
I mean, this is already on the Rapid R. It's all over it.
Yeah, it's on the top
I
four.
mean,
I upvoted it. Yeah.
I'll say, first of all, I speak for myself and not for the team or the project.
Speak for
in this
DFK,
moment.
whether you like it or not. Deal with it. I'm just kidding.
He's the Lord of Chaos.
Well,
He's not
Studios,
DFK representative.
I don't think that it is an issue. Realistically, I think that our team, people like Hubert, are very conscientious of the community and the effects on every individual person's, investment and their current view of the game. And I appreciate that, but we have one viral moment. Our community is small enough that it would not be hard to triple, quadruple, times 10, times 50 our community literally overnight. And then the evaluation of everything immediately changes. And to me, it's just a matter of, we're starting, as we're waiting for these times to kind of go past us and to get out of this market and release everything and everyone be happy and merry. There's still some time that we have to look and adjust to maintain the relationship we have with everybody. So I think it's a good thought process, but it's not something that concerns me.
So real quick, I wanted to say something before. Risen, have you heard of a Cricut or Cricut machine for scrapbooking? It's spelled CRI. Okay. Because that might be, if you guys are going to be doing some events, which I would imagine you will be, you're probably going to want a bunch of stuff printed out and stickers possibly. Like, it almost might be worth getting a Cricut. Just a thought.
It's not worth the labor cost. It's much cheaper to pay some factory overseas to produce and send me those stickers, but I do appreciate it.
I want to see Risen.
My wife used a Cricut to make 50 Halloween party invites, and they were spectacular. Every year they're the coolest things that all of our friends say it. I'm the one who sees the whole pair of weekends she spends agonizing over making those things. So I agree with both of you.
Ignore myself then. A horrible idea. Way more labor costs. So back to the conversation.
I mean, if you're paying me to do it, then the cost changes.
Well, I was kind of imagining an excuse for you to be stuck in the house watching your baby.
That's what I'm doing here.
All right. Without having to cut. So the heroes, supply and demand, right? That's what it comes down to.
That's what it boils down to.
Right now, we're at the bottom of the bear market. The demand is low. And like you said, our community's not that big, Risen. And it will grow.
If you've ever played any trading card game, there's been times as those games are first released or first getting off the ground that I guarantee some shop owner was like, we're never going to sell these, and threw them in the dumpster. And now those original boxes of alpha are worth, $250,000. It changes. It's so, that's the reason that we're all in this crypto world is controlled by us, and the sentiment can change overnight for positive or negative, and I just don't want to adjust too much and take focus off of where we're planning to go. Like almost taking an optimistic standpoint of, there was a point where we really were concerned that there was not enough heroes if we had a large amount of people come on, and now here we are.
And that's fair. I will say this much. I feel like it's there is a fear on my end as well. Overcorrection and maybe overreaction, but I think the commentary that comes up time and time again, and I don't expect any resolutions to this on stream, but I think it's more of a symptom of a larger problem that people envision, right? Let's be honest, like people are seeing prices, be what they be, right? And people think, oh well, it's gotta be because XYZ, and we need to fix XYZ, otherwise things tank. I mean, I think that's sort of where people are coming at it from. Whether that's true or not, that's sort of the sentiment. I don't know that it's necessarily correlated. It may be, what is it? It's not causation, but correlation type of situation where it's, it sort of happens to be tangentially sort of happening at the same time, but it may not be the reason why prices are what they are. And to that, I don't know that there's a solution, right? I don't think that addressing hero inflation is
I
gonna.
feel like if the token value goes up, less summons will occur. However, if the token value does not go up, heroes are going to continue to multiply, especially if more people come onto the chain. So if the token value stays low, then it's going to continue to, you're going to have hyperinflation in the NFTs.
I just don't see how the token value stays low and people are coming on in droves enough and like buying it up to summon.
I don't see how it's 12% right now, to be honest, with as much being burned. But I mean,
no, that's fair. I agree with everything you're saying. I don't see that. Like, I don't see how that one outcome happens. But I get you.
It could go either way. I mean, if a bunch of people come in the market, the tokenomics, the token power tokens continue to rise, then yes, it will be more difficult to summon. However, if the tokens stay at a value or continue to devalue, for whatever reason, there's still a spread between DFK chain and Crystalville and Sarandel. You not only have to split that amount between Crystalville now, but you're also splitting it between another chain. So money has to go into both of those. So I think we're not going to see tokenomics increase as fast as we would like to see them increase, unless there is a increase in burning, not only of the tokens, but of the NFTs. But that's just my standpoint.
Bravia, from your perspective, I know you come at this more from a gaming perspective. I mean, what's your position on sort of, how do you see this sort of fitting into the gamer side of things?
You mean the gas inflation? Is that you're referring to, or hero inflation?
The hero inflation, but gas inflation is an interesting sort of correlated.
I guess it kind of goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
My personal take on it is, Clayton isn't being utilized near enough, and basically every single player we have is playing on Crystalville if they're not mining on Clayton. And if you just get even a quarter of the people on Crystalville over on Clayton, the gas would drop, which would help. And another thought was, the duels. We noticed that when duels is on, gas goes up quite a bit. But that's sort of Frisky's baby, so he's probably not going to nerf that. But you could make it chain, Clayton would be, the season for duels would be on Clayton only. And then all those whales that like to play duels, they don't care what the gas price is. And all the little guys that want to just quest and get their mats, they don't have to pay as high gas. So
that is an interesting proposition. I kind of like that too. First I hear that pitched. I like it. The other thing it gets me to think on, it'd be nice to, and it's one of those easier said than done, but it'd be nice to visually see, like, what does it cost to run a quest in Clayton right now versus DFK chain. Make your decisions on a regular basis to sort of quest in one place for another, and again, easier said than done because that changes, I'm sure, by the second. So
And, analytically and statistic wise, do we know for sure that the duels is what is increasing the GUI or the gas? Is that the primary concern?
It was one factor that when it was not on, it was definitely lower. And then when everybody was unable to run their bots when the V3 came out, you could easily see that as the the waifu, the diff key all started coming online, you could see gas just start rising more and more and more as we farmed.
I think Kingdom Studios was hoping to see Clayton be used more, and that would not suck up as much of Crystal Bell's bandwidth, but it didn't happen that way just because of the cost differential.
Well,
so maybe a subnet.
Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, so maybe a subnet to side some of these activities like duels or questing, so where they're part of the DFK chain, but they function independently on their own subnet. So where the primary, let's say PVE and actual PVE and PvP comes out on Crystal Bell or Sarandel, then that would be the primary use of all the gas, and not whatever is bogging down the network or increased bandwidth.
And I like Panga's comment here. The answer is the Champions program, and I know that was something that was teased out a while back ago when it maybe made a lot more sense. Certainly, I think the idea of a Champions program might dissuade people from using bots and sort of go that avenue, right?
Bots are frozen right now. Cause if you speak on XEarn, like when it hits like 15 GUI, they slow down, and then anything after that, they pause all bots. So you're talking about like 20,000 heroes not questing right now just because of the gas prices. And that doesn't hurt the network. That just makes people that have all those heroes not be able to make any kind of profit.
We also know that the team is already working on a fix for that, right? I mean, Frisky has said for a long time that he's basically warned all of the bot runners that eventually they're going to build automation into the game itself.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that's at the top of their priority, but if gas becomes an issue, that would be a quick way to do it. They look at a different way. Instead of auto questing all of our heroes, maybe we just stake them, and then they have a different way to do it. Instead of putting it on a quest, we stake our hero, and then we just set it by feeding it or something like that, or doing some power up that where, okay, it's automatically going to quest for us for a week and we don't even have to interface with it or something like that. Right. I see Risen smiling. Like, did I just like read somebody's cliff notes or something? Am I like way too close for comfort?
Yeah. There was definitely a few things that were completely off, but then there was a few things that were like right on point. So it was like overall wrong, but like there was a few things that just.
And which ones were those again?
And keep in mind too, like when people talk about whether like what we're focusing on and different things, there's been plenty of times where the automation has come up, but then the math on where that is on the priority list often changes based off of what community options are there right now. Is it something that literally needs to happen tonight? Otherwise we can't, move forward. That's a high priority. Is it something that we need to push the game forward? That's a high priority. I know that it's come up in discussions, and I know more than I should of the plan. But yeah.
Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah,
you mentioned a plan.
12 years.
You have a pitch deck.
No.
But it's sort of interesting, right? Because I don't know about you guys. I have many more heroes than I initially care to have, and thus need a bot service. But for me, at least, I think the intention that at some point, when the community, when the game grows and people sort of flock in, I don't intend on owning that many heroes. I intend to ideally offload some of those others, sort of offer them up as, hey, you know, because they are good heroes in my opinion, right? But there is going to be a demand for them. You know, I don't. Do you guys sort of feel the same way? Am I alone there, or are you guys aiming to sort of have the largest legion imaginable?
Well, no, I mean, I even if I had fewer heroes, I would still want it automated, just because it's like I have mornings where I have to get up and I'm just going for like the entire day. I don't even have time to click, even if it was just one hero, just that one quest, I would forget to do it. And so I just don't want to fall behind in XP, so I would still prefer to
Wait, you're not
automate.
sending your heroes right now while we're on the stream?
No, they're being sent. Don't you worry. Yeah, don't you worry. I got a little bloater working on them, just like Sticks. Anyway, but
The only 2 cents that I will give is that we have a lot of control over how the game works and plays. So when we're talking about doing an in-game version of what is existing, we don't necessarily have to do that. We can maybe solve the problem without having to do that. There's more creative ways of solving for Sticks like issue without necessarily, you know, having our own brand of what exists currently.
Right,
And then
I agree with that. Yeah.
I'm reading between the lines there, and I'm hoping it's not like attempts to squash bots, because the bot creators will always win. All right, good. I'm pretty sure Frisky knows that because he was a bot runner.
And listen, we that's kind of the point. You are correct, Ogre. Is like that's a futile attempt of you know, trying to win that war. It's just not going to happen. You build a better mousetrap kind of situation.
I would rather DFK not spend a lot of time trying to replace the features that I'm already getting through a third party, because someone else is already building those out, and I'm paying for that service, and I'm really happy with it.
What do you
And
think about what
not only
Deep
that
says in comments? He says that I think the DFK team needs to come up with terms and conditions for automation builders, create a standard to control what's automated.
It's a brilliant idea.
except it's
But it's
too easy
easier
to
said than
ignore.
done.
Oh
Yeah.
no, not
Yeah.
shade. So
Much
you can
easier
just
said than
they can
done.
revoke permissions. I don't know. There's a way to do it. I feel like if you put it up in the front that like, hey, Kingdom Studios is going to reserve the right as like the leader of the validators of the change to shut you down if you violate these terms and conditions.
It's just like
I think
hacking in
that's good. You
Diablo.
have a remedy, and it's consensual, right? Because they have to agree. So it's an agreed upon thing.
Okay, so
They
let's
have
say it
to
happens.
agree.
Well, no. If they want to, if they want to build an automation tool, I think that's something we could put to a community vote, right?
They don't have to.
97.5% of the community voted in favor of moving to Clayton. I think maybe if we had a vote, maybe the community would improve something like a terms and conditions for automation builders.
But how do you stop the people that won't adhere to that? How do you disarm the criminals that don't turn in their guns?
You don't let them use the Web 2 portion that
Right.
has the good
Right.
PvP on it.
But the snipe bots can still snipe Gen Zeros that are, you know, accidentally listed. Like, you can't stop this. It's decentralization. It's otherwise it's centralized to stop that.
No, I'm not talking about stopping snipe bots. I'm talking about if they wanted to, like, if automation tools wanted to be more like incorporated or co-marketed with DFK, or have a link in DFK that kind of takes you to like, hey, here's an option, and maybe it's hidden somewhere in like some dark underground corner, but like, so you have to know where it is to find it in the first place. But it's something that integrated into the game in some way, and it kind of gives it a sense of, I don't know, if someone wants that level of access, they could agree to a terms and conditions. And if someone doesn't want that level of access, and they don't give a shit what the team thinks anyway, and you're right, and I agree, they're going to do. But I think it's a path for people who want to be good actors to have a collaborative experience that's like constructive.
That is nice. I would love to see like Oog or something like that, some NPC you can go to and just use to automate all of your stuff internally, or maybe Oog has options, like you said, for the bot runners and designers who are willing to cooperate with the game. And will there be a few people that step outside of the game and get something else to get around the rules? Yeah, of course. Because if they did automation in game, in my mind, that automation should have a handicap. It shouldn't be more effective than that person that only has one or two heroes and has to struggle to go every 4 hours, right? That person should have.
I talked about that last night, Ogre, and I wonder if I disagree, because I think if you do any built-in automation where the rewards are lower, then I would rather just use an external automation tool that does nothing to solve with the gas.
That's what I'm getting at. That solution doesn't really solve anything. Trying to put it in the game.
Well, no,
I'm
I'm
sure
saying
you're
put it in the
laughing.
game. But my only problem is your reduced rewards idea. That's the only issue I have. Is the rewards have got to be about even at the very least.
Right,
Or
but
not,
then
not and also at most. I wouldn't want them to be more either.
To your point, though, Sticks and Turn, for me, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the 100 USDC challenge. I thought it was fun, but let me tell you, I was questing 20 heroes, and for me, my lifestyle, right? Everyone's different, but for me, it's like I'm like go go go, like I'm so like I have
That
such a
party lifestyle
regimented
catches
schedule.
up to you.
God, no kidding, right? You got adulting and work, and it's just so much, right? But poor me. But it was a different experience. It was one of those experiences where like, hey, this is fun. But even with 20 heroes, if I want to be, and it was different because I was I was trying to compete against a handful of other people. So it's like you've gotta. I remember, it was harkening back to the days where I was setting alarms up at 2 a.m. at 5 a.m. to sort of try and stay on top of things. And it wasn't, it was different. Once you go bot, it's hard to go back. But I think to your point, Sticks, as well. Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily want to see the team investing on an automated service at the moment. Because I know they're working on a bunch of other things. Does it come at some point? Is there some
Yeah,
sort
they're
of
way more
partnership?
important to me.
Yeah, I think
biggest-
that gets added to the quality of life list.
Right.
yeah, the
And I
biggest
do. Sorry.
the biggest unexpected result of that, I think, of integrating automation into the game would be potentially alienating the amazing developer community we have, right? Because most of them have come up with some sort of bot. So if we take it all internal and say, sorry, guys, you're all out of business now. You've been working on this. I know you've been building in this ecosystem, but fuck you, you're out. Like that kills our community if we do something like that. So we'd have to be very careful how that's approached as well. Just a thought.
With that said, I do like the quality of life improvements that have come as far as like the multi-questing. That has been helpful. I must say kudos to the team on that, because when I was doing that USDC challenge, that was sort of a new feature that I was more regularly making use of. But it's not something I felt like, hey, I could entirely leave what I'm doing currently to sort of gravitate and sort of go in that direction. Anyhow, any final comments on that topic before
I'm
so
so
hero
tempted to say
inflation turn into
something that
bots?
I shouldn't say, but speaking on like the quality of life stuff, I don't think that we are going to replace or alienate the people, the developers that are building those things. But I do think that there's plenty of things, quality of life, that can be done that don't necessarily have to replace a bot, but effectively could still cover plenty of people, in situations that are more temporary, like I'm not going to be around for the next couple of days or whatever it may be. Like, we'll see what actually gets developed and what comes out when it does. But I think that there's a big space between full automation and manual to where you can have some definite quality of life improvements without completely going to what we have now as our automated bots.
I think
And I think
eventually
this is a good
DFK.
segue.
Real
Say that
quick,
again,
So
Matt.
I
Matt,
basically going to ask you the same thing. Is DFK is going to have eventually some kind of screen time? You want people to have screen time where they're actually looking at the screen and playing the game. And so automation has its place, but eventually you want people to be playing the game and watching the game and actually interacting with the game. I think that should be the overall goal short term. And I think pushing towards PvP is a wise idea, but I also think controlling the tokenomics is something that's right close up there next to it.
So for me
Yeah,
on the
no,
hero inflation, I had just a bunch of thoughts on that I never got to drop. I think that I agree with Richard. It wasn't a big deal. I was concerned that the team had some like future projections that showed it would be a big deal in like a year and a half, and that's why I voted like I want to hear what they got to say about this. What data is there? But I mean, for me looking at it, I agree, not a big deal, and yeah, that's all I wanted to add. Like I thought it was gonna be like a rate of change out there problem. I didn't think it was a current now problem by any means, and I don't think it is a problem at the moment. I was worried about rate of
I
change.
think that was the team. I think that was the team's decision as a whole, and maybe not necessarily each individual dev's thoughts, from what I'm
And
gathering.
you've heard our devs. Yeah, you imagine how much Hubert actually thinks about this game, and imagine, yeah, a lot of these things come up in his mind, in a lot of the developers' minds, and I thought that was kind of overblown, even like when that thing went up, of just like, we're asking if you'd be open to us having like a discussion, and people were like, no, this is the end of the game.
I'm mad you asked. Was the answer, right? Like, why now?
It was very funny for me watching Bolon
Are
repost
you
the same
claiming?
answer to every person.
Are you claiming the community's made mountains out of hills? Because I am appalled by such games. I am fired up. I am upset. What let's transition away from that real quick. Bravia is brought up, and am I saying your name right? I'm probably butchering
Brovia?
Bravia. Is that Brovia?
I'm so glad I got that right. Okay, I was waiting for it.
Brovia.
Yeah, there's a reason Styx knows that one.
He's that's why he's the intern. Bro, come back to me. Come back. Why'd you leave? Let me share my my screen here. The Tweeter Paladins just dropped. I will say, I've been noticing, Risen, a much more concerted effort to hit I would call it marketing, a marketing of sorts. If you look at Sachet's recent tweet, it got well over, last I checked, well over 150,000 views. I think some big time content or Twitter personalities sort of caught on to that and sort of retweeted, and it's getting a lot of eyes. I've seen Kupo. Oh geez, what's his name? Oh, Sanjuro. How did I confuse? Sanjuro needs to pop in more often. He's I'm forgetting that guy. Sanjuro's got his own sort of contest he's doing. You guys are doing a lot more. Before we get into that, Risen, do you care to just share? I mean, it's kind of obvious for me. I'm on Twitter all the time, and I'm seeing more and more of it.
I'm gonna say some harsh truth of, it seems like a lot because of what we've done in the last couple of months has been little to nothing, in my opinion. So this is us starting down a better path as far as marketing and positioning, and there's still some stuff that is being, held back to where, like, some of the thoughts of, hey, when people gave us question why we didn't release eggs in tie with Easter, right? Like, that would have been a good thought process to have, instead of just like doing it as soon as it's ready. The same thing is, like, we have some pretty great ideas and pretty great plans, but we're being purposeful with us ramping it up, and when we're doing certain things to tie and correlate with other things. So in the next couple of months, you'll see that steady increase. There's also been more control given to a new marketing committee, which is a small group of the devs, to really push forward some of those ideas quicker responses, quicker movement from ideation to end result. So yeah, I'm very happy with what we're doing so far, but you're going to see a whole lot more out of us in the future.
And I appreciate that comment for sure, because I know it's something we've all sort of been and I say yap because I've sort of yapped on this. I know other people are making well thought out comments on the whole sort of being proactive in marketing. To the people who are like, oh, why weren't you doing it? Because there are those people. I mean, any closing remarks there for those people who are like, why now? Why not earlier? I know there's an answer, and I've heard it from you, but if you care to repeat it.
I don't remember what my answer was at that time. Sorry.
In my mind, when there's something to talk about, it gets talked about.
It's one of those things where it sounds like such a cop-out, but once everything is done and looking back in retrospect, you guys will understand a lot of the position that we've been in and why we've done certain things. And there'll be plenty of things I'm willing to even go right now and I'll cut through all the mistakes and things that we've fallen short. But a lot of the things that people bring up, we're not stupid. We know, and if we're not paying for this, personality to say something about us, we haven't from the beginning. We're not going to start doing that now. Like, we have a much longer plan in place.
Risen, I got
We're
a
not
quick
trying to
question for
blow
you.
up and then go away the next day. Like, all of the marketing that you see for other crypto projects or DeFi games, or the few that are still remaining, we're not trying to copy and paste what they're doing because nobody's been successful yet. We're trying to push a path forward that other people will follow in the future. So
No, for sure.
there's just not a straightforward answer. There's definitely plenty of room for improvement. It is not like this magical, we've been perfect, wait till you guys see it. But it is definitely not a simple, go do X, Y, and Z and all the problems are solved.
In my mind,
Bless, you have a
everything
question and one.
works in cycles.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm sorry. In my mind, everything works in cycles, right? So, I mean, there's lulls and then there's times of a lot of activity. The last several months, the team has been building. They've been doing a lot of the underpinning and a lot of the back end stuff that we don't really see. We don't necessarily notice, except for maybe a slight change in gas price. But it's creating the foundation for all the other stuff that it's going to be rolling out. And I have a feeling that this new marketing that has people excited is going to turn into, oh my God, look at all of these updates and drops we're getting now that the 6 months of toil that they've gone through is finally nearing completion. And so they have all the baseline tools they need to just drop stuff on top of that. And I wouldn't be surprised if things are backed up, waiting to be dropped on that one last piece.
Speaking
needs to be coded out and put on chain. So just everything works in phases and in waves in life, all energy. Sorry.
Speaking of dropping things, would you say that, Risen, that in certain intervals or certain time frames that DFK wants to drop certain content in, maybe not right away, maybe you have it ready, let's just say hypothetically you have something that's ready, but you don't want to release it right now because it's not the right time? Is there a maybe not, let's not go back to roadmap, but let's go back to we don't want to release something even though it's ready because it's not the right time to. Let's just say hypothetical.
I don't think that the marketing of things is holding up any form of development or release. I think it's just a matter of being a little bit more thoughtful with what we're developing when we're changing those priority lists around. And there's some effort made into it, but then there's plenty of things that we thought would take 2 weeks that have taken 2 months. And then it changes around in that path of what's being released. Our team is very big on produce, put out, like they say it's done, and then like 10 minutes later it's live and there's a post in Discord. If anything, I wish I had some more heads up to be able to market some of the things that are coming out before they actually come out. So we're definitely currently being pushed by the development of the game, not marketing. You're just going to start seeing a little bit more thoughtfulness in the marketing and just an increase in volume of the marketing.
So you're saying you're not waiting for 3XP to drop PvP?
If that's what was happening, if that was happening, I would be at 3XP.
The whole time Bless was asking his question, that's all I could say. All I could imagine, be like, "Oh, tell me
skipping,
yes to that, so I could be like, you're dropping it."
Skipping the gaming event where we're doing that.
Why not wait for an event? I mean, it seems like the perfect time to get more publicity. I mean, speaking of if you're looking at it a marketing perspective.
Who said
But
they weren't? They're just waiting for the next one.
I mean, they could be. I don't know. That's their
Also,
prerogative.
something to bring up while we're talking about events. Number one, because we've talked about this, I've had a few conversations about this. I love the fact that so many people are going. Make sure that we always have 2 or 3 people minimum standing in front of the DFK booth, Avalanche booth. For those who have not gone to conferences or have not gone to many, there's often way too many booths, way more projects than you have time to mess with. So the normal psychology is there's a booth with a lot of people in front of it. People are going to go to that booth to see what everybody's checking out because it's obviously got people interested. So the more people we can have at the booth constantly, the better.
Yeah,
I thought-
the key is we man spread at events. We have our little booth, and then we just start exploding outward and pushing in front, and that's where we start blocking the hallway with just people that are talking to. Like, do you work for the project? No, I just play the game, and they brought me out here.
Hell yeah!
Be
I don't
like,
Listen, if you guys,
be like
The
Peter
other
Griffin
point-
and make a whole bunch of tiny little bloater plushies, and then just leave like a little trail, and someone will be like, "Ooh, piece of candy."
Bloater crumbs,
6
bloater
inches
crumbs.
sold on that.
Yes, I love that.
Bloater crumbs. Listen, Risen, if you guys need me to twerk at a corner somewhere to attract people in or away from somewhere to move
You're not
them
trying
in,
to scare
you
people away
just
from
let
the
me
booth.
know.
So any other booth aside from DFK that has a gaggle in front of it, go to the middle of that
go to
gaggle
that
and start
one.
twerking
Go to that
people.
one.
Bring a boombox.
What is the next big event after 3XP?
Risen.
Nashville.
Yeah, I don't.
What?
Nobody knows.
Listen, but on that point though,
There's
Ogre, I've
a
heard,
lot of events.
I've heard
There's a
good
lot of
things
things
about
that are
Nashville,
happening.
like from an independent homie
We
around
already
here.
had ETH. We already have Avalanche.
It's gonna be huge.
What normally happens this time of year?
I will say that I suspect, and blink twice if you think if I'm right here, Risen. I think part of
Blink
what
twice.
happens is that in interacting with some of these, events, it takes some time to hear back from them, and communication could always be better. The problem is that it's a handful of people who, though they're doing their best to get back to everyone, they can sometimes not get back to you soon enough, and you don't know if you're attending that next event because you're waiting on an email response. Risen, blink twice.
I will also say that this year has been much more mindful on what we're doing and what money we're spending out there, because I would rather take a step back until we're at a certain point to where I can hit the ground running and we can be out there maybe at a lot more smaller things. Like it just depends on kind of where we are at, but compared to the beginning of this project in the last year, we definitely have taken a smaller step to what things do we have to go to. And then when we go to those things, sometimes things like 3XP happen because we meet somebody else. And then this, for example, there's a bunch of meetings set up enough that Dreamer and Sunbear are going from the biz dev side, but we made a decision that we're not doing a booth. So me and Bolon are not going because I'd rather have that money in this situation, maybe for something a little bit further in the future.
It's
Tell us
okay.
more
You guys
about
don't
that.
like California. Just say it. Anyhow, next segment.
Saying he's saving his money for Nashville.
I mean, that just
bro.
seems like an expensive version of Florida. So
I plead the
No,
fifth.
way better than Florida.
So I know, Ogre, you were mentioning you wanted to talk about, and maybe we sort of end it here, and this might be a few minutes, but end it with some of the things DFK's been the first to do. I don't know if they're the first to do this, but when we were talking about automation, and thinking back to Sachet's comment or tweet, I thought of one of my favorite things that has been done in the last year that maybe doesn't get as much credit as it should, is that the C-Jewel S-Jewel piece I think has been very interesting to say the least. From my perspective, it's nice to have people sort of commit, and put their money where their mouth is and lock up some of that jewel in exchange for some awesome features. But Ogre, I'll start with you because I know you were excited to sort of, and you know the space way more than I do. Some of the first DFK's been their first two.
Well, I mean, the one you use, it's the first time it was implemented in a game, but I believe they actually used 1 inch's model for that, just like they use Uniswap V2 for the AMM. So they are taking stuff that works and implementing it. But I believe it was the first time it was ever done in a game, right? That they implemented that type of mechanic to have gamers voluntarily lock up their stuff for a reward as part of the project. They also were the first one to drop an AMM and fair launch their token, the very first GameFi project. And I'm pretty sure our community invented that word, and then other ones started trying to figure out how they could become GameFi. So yeah, in my mind, like the team started out with a freaking first, fair launching the in-game token. Like, if you imagine if Fortnite or Robux did that, like, yeah, we're just going to allow you to trade your dollars and tokens back and forth, and yeah, just go. Like, we're not selling the tokens; it's part of the built-in exchange. I thought that was amazing. And then the very most recent thing they did, first one to be able to bridge NFTs that are bonded together, right? So that's like the first thing they did and the most recent thing they did are both firsts in the space. I know there's a lot of others. I'm curious who can bring up some other ones.
Brovia, I'm looking at you because I know your focus is more in the game side of things. Anything that sort of has intrigued you in the last year that's come up, or maybe a first you've seen that sort of that's hooked you and it's kept you here?
It's the fact that the NFTs are ever changing, right? You can make it better or worse, and that is what is really appealing to me.
Yeah, no, and elaborate on that. You mean like the dynamic sort of way the NFTs change or can change in the sense of
how you
equipping
can,
stuff?
yeah, how you can use them, the rarity of them, like all that you can use certain stones, and you invest in an NFT, like say a Bored Ape, you buy the Bored Ape, that's it, it's done. But you buy a DeFi Kingdoms NFT, you can make that better. You can level it up. You can on and on and on.
Dynamic NFTs.
People, sorry,
is what I think you're referring to dynamic NFT technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Sticks intern, I see you're unmuted. Anything? I know you had a canned answer. I know you sort of called that out in our.
No. I didn't have
secret
it. Wasn't
Discord.
for the first. It was when we were gonna go through Sanjuro's thread. I had an answer for my favorite input on his thread.
Sasha's thread. Let's hear it.
Oh, okay. Well, my favorite thing about that, I've actually already mentioned it, was the fact that we had a 97.5% governance vote in which the team allegedly recused themselves, and I choose to believe that version of reality because it's the truth. And it's cool that so many of our community recognize the need to abandon, like a pretty core institution to a thing like DeFi Kingdoms, which is like the chain it was initially built on, right? And I mentioned it in my show the other night that, like, to me, at the very beginning, when I was talking to my friends about how, like, I could hold this through the whole bear market, I was like, there's one thing that could go wrong. That's going to be like, if this happens, I'm probably screwed out of every dollar I put into this. That's if Harmony goes to shit. And, so this team is the first one that has faced my worst case scenario, literally verbalized, and overcome it in a way that made me more bullish.
It's I like you, and I know I've heard others say the same, where it's like, hey, you know what? Why did you invest so much time on GFK chain, before Harmony? And now it's like, God, that saved our keister. Sort of Monday night quarterbacking. That's an interesting one. Bless, anything you care to mention? Something in the last year that has changed, been introduced, or maybe a first to the game that sort of intrigues you?
Pass. Go to somebody else that hasn't spoken. Let me think about it for a second.
No worries. Risen, I have to go to you, man.
Hello.
You're an insider. Give me your inside baseball. I mean, from your perspective, what's been that hot thing that people aren't talking about but should probably get more credit than people are giving it?
I mean, nobody thinks that I'm technical in anything, but I will say we haven't copied other people because of the fact that pretty much 90% of the things that we've had to do, we've had to figure out how to do it because nobody else has before. As we've done that, we've erased some of our own countless hours of work by having to redo things. And it was mentioned earlier that the last couple months have kind of been a little bit about just building and developing. The point was made, and it was spot on, is this is like a beautiful foundational changes that are being made right now. Even the changes to the hero's new clothes, like thinking about the fact that we are changing that with the mindset of we want to be able to do all of these things with that character in the future. What level of animation, what level of gameplay, what level of travel, all of those changes have to be made at a fundamental level now, rather than trying to do it once everything's popping off. So I'm just saying there's probably way more first than I could ever even understand. Otherwise, we would just have a copy and paste of somebody else's game right now. But instead, we have people that copy and paste what we do instead.
When Call of Duty integration's my question. I'm just kidding.
DFK is just
Yeah.
a Uniswap fork, I heard. That's just what I heard.
Bless,
Same-
give you
same
an
rap.
opportunity. Anything to chime in before we start wrapping it up?
Jokingly, before we started, I said DFK made a first by making Risen and Bolin community directors. But that was the only thing that popped into my mind. No, but they're doing a fine job. The only thing that I would like to ask Risen off topic is if DFK and Kingdom Studios continues to expand and grow, do you believe that any of the devs that are no longer with the Kingdom Studios would come back?
First of all, I'll say I know personally and am become friends with over this time a lot of the team. And the ones that are here for a reason. The ones that have left, 99% of them are doing some pretty cool things, whether it be in the crypto world or not in the crypto world. Some of them I know are literally just taking time. I don't know what they're going to do next, but they're like, listen, I'm good. I just need some time. I've literally had my head in a computer for the last year and a half. I'm just going to take a step back. So I don't know what the future holds. I don't think that there's pretty much anybody that would be shooed away at the door if that situation, when that situation comes up. But I can't speak for other people, but I know a lot of them are doing some pretty amazing things on their own, or learning from this experience, or they loved it. But there's nothing wrong with saying a year, 6 months of this is too much. Like, especially when we first were going,
I think
it
for a
was
crypto
80, 90 hours
project
a week.
first.
Yeah, like it's not for everybody. And
Yeah,
there's
I
some
think you
people
guys have
that
been a class
held
act.
on.
I think that would be my first. Is you guys have been pretty much a class act through this whole crypto progression, especially going through a bear market. Could have been a rug, and you guys could have just said, we're going to pull the plug. But you kept your heads down and you continued to do it. And I think I can see it, and I don't know if other people notice it, but some of the AMAs that you guys do, Ayla being one, I see her character that you originally gave characters away, those original Gen Zeros. Like I see her NFT character in some of the cartoons that were made. I don't know who made the cartoons, but it's like, hey, you're still involved. You're still involved. You were part of this project, and we still see Ayla's character in some of those cartoons today, even still in the AMAs, even though she's not officially part of Kingdom Studios. But I love the answer that Kingdom Studios would be interested in having open arms to bring back some of the devs. That's actually very interesting to hear.
But I will say I do think that there is something to be said about those of us that have been here that have stuck it out. There's plenty of time with zero pay, zero reward, and nothing but a hope and a dream that we just continue. And it's picked up, and some things get better. It's still not back to where this is the only thing that I do to support my family, but it's going to be there, and I'm not giving up on it any more than you guys are giving up on it. So I'll be here until the bitter end, when the knock on wood, it never happens, but
no bitter end. You're here until the amazing end, when some giant AAA studio comes in and buys DFK, and y'all go, nope, because we're AAA. Fuck off.
No, the community projects the vote.
Yes.
We get to a point where we put
Blizzard
like,
comes
I'm
in.
trying to resign. I put it up for a vote and I get denied. I'm being forced into labor.
I do not accept your resignation.
No, Fox already had that happen. He asked to step down, and the community said, no, we don't want you to step down.
It's a bit. I like it.
No,
I
think what I'll say, in addition to everything that has been said, it's sort of a good opportunity to mention, and maybe I close off on this, that the idea that the team is insulated in a unique bubble where things like burnout and stress and anxiety don't exist is a false narrative. If anything, the crypto space would accentuate some of those things, and the fact that you've sort of pulled through and sort of stuck around with us and tolerated us and and come in day after day. It's
don't
impressive.
Forget this is the coolest thing that I could be doing with my life. I mean, I literally get paid to hang out with a bunch of degens, talk about video games and comics and old school RPGs, and pay, watch everybody succeed. I can't wait to get back to that point where, we're hearing these wonderful stories about people's lives being changed. And I believe that is not a far off future. So I will hold on until the very bitter end. Whether or not I keel over at the keyboard or not, we'll find out.
Yeah, no, and hey, just a general reminder to be kind to one another, right? But no, seriously, tremendous kudos to you all, to you, Risen, to the team, and I think a lot of what we hear is sort of frustration from people because Bear frustrates anyone, whether it's DFK or Bitcoin or insert name of any other project. Like, that's just the harsh reality, right? But thank you for coming on. Brovia, thanks for jumping on. Blast, welcome back. Sticks in turn.
I got one thing. I want to show. I want to show one thing.
Show me, baby.
DFK merch shop. If you want to toss a coin to your witchers, your devs and the people building the game, the easiest way to do it is to go buy some merch. And my wife, who does not have any heroes, who disapproves maybe a little bit of my investing so much in crypto generally, she has a green DFK hoodie, and it is her favorite sweatshirt to wear. I'm not even shitting you. It's the most comfortable sweatshirt she owns. So
we don't go low quality on the stuff.
No, not at all. It's
very high
quality stuff. Even when we're giving away at events, stuff like that, I'm not buying any crap. It's
when 3XL tall.
Yeah,
when 3XL tall.
Ogre, you're tough, man. That's
the only critique. But with that said, thank you all for joining us. We'll catch you next time. I'm sure we'll be doing something at 3XP where one of us is streaming. I'm sure I'll end up somewhere. A lot of content to be recorded. Peace out to everyone. Let me hit you with an outro. Sarge out. I've got lots of quotes too. They're just bad quotes.
Let's go!
6 intern. Boy, I'm really on fire.
Welcome to Bogside Chats, where we're talking everything DeFi Kingdom.
Emergency alert notifications. Avoid contact with the infected. Since biological agents are being used to combat the outbreak,